Barak to all the Muslim viewers who celebrated their Tabaski over the weekend. Now a look at the main news headlines. Their second Tawaf in Makkah on Tuesday, circulating the Kaaba 7 times and running between the hills of Safa and Marwa. In the wake of the recent fuel price rises in the Gambia, the Ministry of Transport and the General Transport Union are negotiating over the possible increase of transport fares nationwide. The director of the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education at the Ministry of Health has called on the public to take ownership and support the recently launched National Multi-Sectoral Health Strategy and Action Plan for Non-Communicable Diseases. In international news, one of Britain's most successful and best-loved athletes, Sir Mo Farah, has opened up about being trafficked to the United Kingdom as a child domestic servant. The family of late Angolan ex-leader José Eduardo dos Santos have requested an autopsy over his death, alleging foul play. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. Gambian pilgrims performed their second Tawaf in Makkah on Tuesday, circulating the Kaaba 7 times and running between the hills of Safa and Marwa. QTV's Babakar Sise is with Triawan Travel and Tours, and he filed in this report.
Tawaful Ifada is an essential element of Hajj. It is performed on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, which is Tabaski Day, or on the 12th of Dhul Hijjah as the last formal rite of Hajj after completing stoning the devil. Pilgrims circumambulate the Kaaba 7 times while praying and reading verses from the Quran. After this, pilgrims offer prayers, usually 2 rakas, behind Maqam Ibrahim. This is a stone placed in a glass dome and which is visible to pilgrims. The dome is covered by a golden cage which has the footprints of Prophet Ibrahim. It is said that while the Holy Kaaba was being built, Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, stood on the stone to supervise the construction. By Almighty Allah's grace, the stone softened, and thus imprints of the Prophet's feet were engraved on the stone. From Maqam Ibrahim, pilgrims also pace between Safa and Marwa 7 times, following the footsteps of Prophet Ibrahim's wife, Hajira.
Illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh zalimin. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-kufri wal faqri. Allahumma inni a'udhu bi ridaka min sakhatika wa mu'afatika.
The 5 days of Hajj are now completed. However, there is one more Tawaf to be performed by pilgrims. This is called Tawaful Wida. It is a way of saying farewell, non-dimitis, bye-bye, or a valediction to the Holy Kaaba. Once done, the pilgrim never goes back to the Kaaba. That is why it is performed 2 or 3 days before pilgrims leave the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Babakar Sise, QTV News, Makkah, Saudi Arabia.
In the wake of recent fuel price rises in the Gambia, the Ministry of Transport and the General Transport Union are negotiating over the possible increase of transport fares nationwide. Both parties have told QTV that the negotiations are to get a win-win outcome for consumers and commercial transport operators in the event of an increase in fares. Mamadou Lamin Choi has the rest of the story.
As global fuel prices skyrocket, the Gambia is experiencing the spillover effect. This year, fuel pump prices have increased at least twice or thrice in the Gambia, the last one being this July. The Ministry of Transport and the General Transport Union have begun negotiations over potential of a national fare increase. The president of the General Transport Union, Omar Sise, explains why fare should increase.
If fuel have increased up to a certain level, it's affecting our operation because we are doing business. After the business, we are expecting profit. But the recent status, if we cannot maintain our operational costs, I think that's not a good business strategy. That's why we are demanding from the stakeholders how to increase the transport fares.
Less than 4 months since the last national fare increase, the commercial transport passengers await another, expected to be implemented following the end of the ongoing negotiations. Esa Drame is the transport director at the Ministry of Transport.
For us, the government, our position is like, we understand their situation, but also we have to look at the global economic, outlook. So that's why, we want to have that frank, discussion with them to ensure that whatever the outcome is a win-win situation.
The transport director reveals to QTV that the ministry has received complaints from transport operators and passengers over the increasing fuel pump prices and the national transport fares. I asked the General Transport Union's president, to what percentage point is the union negotiating with the ministry for an increase in fares? Here is his response.
I'll appeal on that. Let's keep that in silence because it's a negotiation. We are demanding a percentage, but I don't think as of now I can publish that. We give the proposal. We are demanding something what is not going to affect the consumers also because we are consumers.
The Ministry of Transport has put on hold a pilot project of a route licensing scheme, which was part of conditions for agreeing with transport stakeholders the recent increased transport fares. The scheme was meant to issue licenses for commercial drivers to strictly ply certain routes as designated in a license to save consumers from paying double, triple or more fares for a particular destination.
But like I said, the time we were effecting the increment, it coincided, with another fuel price, increase. So it makes it, difficult, for us to go ahead, with the scheme. But notwithstanding, we are hopeful that when we agreed on the new tariff, that will also give us the opportunity to reintroduce the scheme.
The spike in fuel prices is generally blamed on the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, which started in February this year. Russia, being the second biggest exporter of crude oil and the world's largest natural gas exporter, is facing a flurry of trade sanctions from the West for its invasion of Ukraine. Mamadou Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The director of the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education at the Ministry of Health, Modun Jai, has called on the public to take ownership and support the recently launched National Multi-Sectoral Health Strategy and Action Plan for Non-Communicable Diseases. He was speaking in an exclusive interview with QTV's Ansumane Sonyasi. And more in this report.
The National Multi-Sectoral Strategy and Costed Action Plan for Non-Communicable Disease Prevention and Control in the Gambia are the results of years of collaborative work between stakeholders within and outside the health sector. The comprehensive framework was developed to help government, through the Ministry of Health, reach out to the public in a more effective way and reduce premature deaths caused by NCDs. Modun Jai, Director of the Directorate of Health Promotion and Education, says the development of this important framework was necessitated by the need to curb risk directly affecting the quality of lives of the public.
This multi-sectoral committee has built up our relationship because between all these government sectors and as well as the civil society and then the academia and other people who are including the National Assembly, it has built up our relationship, and that has really been taken to the next level. And then when we did the Tobacco Control Act, and our act is one of the best in the African region. And why? Because we are not giving chance for smoke-free. It's a smoke-free environment, total 100% smoke-free environment, meaning we are not giving chance for any other place to say, well, there is a smoke zone here, you can go and smoke. The policy is against that, and the act is not including that.
The latest WHO NVD profile indicated that NDCs accounts for 34% of total annual deaths in the Gambia. One of the many reasons Mr. Njai believes necessitated the formulation of this important national framework that seeks to provide a roadmap for effective cooperation between government, development partners and the public.
I'm calling for the support of the general public. So that's why this committee, we have been meeting regularly. We do have quarterly meetings and we discuss on issues, and then how do we be able to address issues around both NCDs and including tobacco control. Because why we focus on tobacco control is one of the risk factors. You know, tobacco use, excessive alcohol consumption, you also have unhealthy diets, and then physical inactivity, and also the additional one, to the fourth one, is the air pollution, indoor air pollution.
He also revealed that over the years, the Gambia has enjoyed remarkable success in the fight against non-communicable diseases and tobacco control, and cites the institution of laws and policies such as the Tobacco Control Act as a serious indication of government's preparedness to respond to all health risks.
We need concerted efforts, we need collaboration, we need that is why our multi-sector working group will be reviewed and will be strengthened so that we can be able to work around this area.
NCDs are the leading cause of death, morbidity and disability globally, accounting for more than 71% of global deaths, with 77% occurring in low and middle income countries. However, Mr. Jai believes if successfully implemented, the strategy will contribute immensely to the fight against NCDs, adding that it envisages a Gambia free from the avoidable burden of non-communicable diseases. Answane Nyase for KTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
Save up to 50% energy with the new side-by-side Samsung refrigerator. Samsung air conditioners come with HD filter and antibacterial for your protection. Save time, energy, and effort by using our washing machines, loaded with innovative features that offer superior cleaning technology. Step into the future of television with our slick and slim Samsung Smart TV designs. Sizes range from 32 to 85 inches. Smart LED, Crystal UHD Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dark LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV. Unparalleled vision, right from the comfort of your living room. Our products are backed with 1-year warranty. Visit us at Q South Building at Caraba Avenue or at Boosterview Turntable. Contact us on 333-3217 or email us at info@quantumnet.gm.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. We also welcome our listeners on Q Radio. As part of efforts to preserve and promote the traditions and culture of the community, the people of Dongoroba Village on Monday organized its second edition of the annual Cultural Day, coinciding with Tobaski celebration. As Alusisa reports, the event is meant to promote the culture among the young generation, and many of whom have returned to the village to celebrate the Eid.
Dongoroba is one of the big communities in Jara East District, Lower River Region. The cultural event is a unique gathering that helps remind the old and educate the young generation about their traditions and culture in relation to marriage ceremonies, among other matters. The cultural event, held at the community lower basic school, attracted people from within and outside the community, including Chief Ansmana Kanaji of Jara East District and Alkalo Alhaji Mamadou Dem of Dongoroba Village, who both commended the youth of Dongoroba for conceiving the idea while encouraging other communities to do the same. Alpha Dem, a member of the organizing committee, said the event is part of efforts to preserve the culture and tradition of the community, which he believes the best moment to do so is during the Tabaski festive period when many have returned home to celebrate the feast.
We are trying to promote our culture in various categories, from naming ceremony, wedding ceremonies, from circumcisions, various areas that we know that people should know their culture. And now we have realized that young people, now it's very rare now you talk to someone and tell you about your culture because it has been lost. So we're trying to bring this back together in celebrating our culture. So this is why it's an annual event that we organize every time.
And what do you seek to achieve from this?
One of the main things that we seem to achieve is to promote unity among ourselves, because we see sometimes will be 2-3 years we haven't seen one another, and then we don't tend to have that relationship within ourselves. So we tend to bring everybody together, then we celebrate, and whereby we have interaction. As you can see, there's a lot of networking that is going on. People are talking to one another and celebrating, laughing, clapping. So this promotes unity among ourselves, because we realize that some others are in the Senegal, others are in Combos. They don't even talk to each other because they don't have that platform, they don't have that opportunity whereby they will have such an event. So this is what we're trying to promote unity, and again to reverse our culture back. Because myself, as I'm speaking, there's something that I have seen here today. I've never seen it, and it's my culture as a Fulani. So this is what we are trying to promote, and this is going to be an annual event. So.
How challenging is it to organize such an event?
One of the biggest challenges is mobilization and fundraising.
Mamadou Dem, chairman of the Dongaraba Village Development Committee, applauded the youth for initiating a cultural event. He gave assurances of the VDC's support to the event.
People like me, one, I would count starting from myself. My tradition is already gone. I don't know anything about tradition. Today, for example, this marriage they saw me today, nothing I can recognize or understand from it. So being here today, it is very, 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 very impressive for the fact that the children come out or the youths come out to teach people or to show people what is their tradition. Yeah, I came to know myself, and other people, they came to know what is tradition and what tradition means to the people. It is important to know your tradition and culture.
It is often said culture and tradition define who a person is, hence the importance of keeping them alive for future generations. It is hoped that the event will achieve this as many return to their various destinations in the Greater Banjul area and Senegal, where many have left the village to work or pursue education. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
A beautiful story there, but only those of us from the village would understand and would, kind of connect to that story. Some businesses are slowly going back to normal after the observance of Eid al-Adha on Saturday, the 9th of July 2022. QTV's Loli camera visited the Serekunda market and Manjai Tipper garage to see how businesses are progressing.
Walking through the market, many shops and canteens are still closed. The few that are open are struggling to sell. Baba Drame is a businessman selling African wear. Has been doing this business for over 10 years. However, each year after the observance of either Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, he struggles to sell much.
Business
after Tobaski is too stressful, and one would prefer is to be at home for a few days after Tobaski, because you hardly see any customers coming to buy.
For Baba Drame, this time is the best time to capitalize on and be at the market, and he explains why.
If one is smart, it's during this period you can make more money before other shop owners return. As you can see, I have just sold some items and I'm able to earn something. And business is all about talent.
Serekunda Market is said to be the Gambia's busiest commercial center, as many come from afar to earn a living there. But during this period, one could walk for minutes without bumping into anyone. From Serekunda Market, we drove along both the Tipper Garage and Manjai Highway. These roads are usually congested with motorists, wheelbarrow pushers, and pedestrians. But today, the streets look almost empty, with only a few commercial drivers transporting people to their destinations. Famara Diba is a driver at the Tangier Garage at Tipper Garage. He said he has been driving since 1981 and explains the situation of his fellow drivers.
The reason for many drivers not being at work is because they are still celebrating the Eid. Some went to their home villages to mark Eid, and park their vehicles. That has contributed to the slowdown of transportation. But for the few of us that are here, are trying our best to transport people.
Farmer Adiba then points out their challenges at the garage.
Our problems are many, but fuel tops the list. Also, the lack of good roads at Madiana has made our work slow because drivers cannot use the roads. The government should help us.
Muniru Dabo was at the Tanje garage to pick up his family who had returned from the provinces. Shared his struggle with us.
I'm looking for transport, but I have greatest difficulty of having a transport. Maybe I believe it's because of the Eid that we've just come from. I've been here almost for the past 1 hour, but it's difficult anyway to have transport.
Some people I spoke to say it is now the norm that businesses take a few days before getting back to normal after the major feast days. Others, without showing much evidence, attribute it to having non-Gambians dominating our major businesses. According to them, if those business owners close, businesses comes to a standstill. However, perhaps the fact that many go to home villages during such times, it's probably closer to the truth. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
That report takes us now to international news. One of Britain's most successful and well-loved athletes, multi-gold medalist Mo Farah, has opened up about being trafficked to the United Kingdom as a child domestic servant. Jennifer Sonko digs into the story.
The long-distance runner, who is now Sir Mo Farah, having been knighted in 2017 for his successes on the track, has stunned the world by revealing that he was trafficked to the UK to work as a domestic servant. The celebrated Olympian has also revealed that his name is Hussein Adi Kayen. The name Mohammed Farah was given to him by the traffickers who flew him from Djibouti, where he was born. Farah told the BBC that he was flown over to the UK by a woman he had never met and was related to. She told him he was being taken to Europe to live with relatives there, something he says he was excited about. Farah said, "I had never been on a plane before." The woman told him to say his name was Muhammad. He says she had fake documents with her that showed his picture next to the name Mohammed Farah. Farah's story, which everyone thought was genuine, was that he had to come to the UK as a refugee from Somalia with his parents. In the real Mo Farah documentary, the gold medalist now reveals that his father had been killed in Somalia's civil war and that he had been separated from his mother before coming to the UK. Farah says he wants to feel normal by telling his story, motivated by his own children. The star became a UK citizen in 2000 while living with his physical education teacher's mother. Farah confided in his physical education teacher when then the teacher contacted the police for intervention. On the track, Mo Farah, as the British press and public came to call him, was one of the biggest home heroes when London hosted the Olympic Games in 2012, where he won the gold at 5 and 10,000 meter distances. He would go on to the World and Olympic Championships at these and other distances in the following years, including retaining his 5,000 and 10,000 meters crowns in Rio in 2016. For revealing his story, the Refugee Council in a Twitter post says, "We applaud Mo Farah for his bravery in telling his heart-breaking story. He underlines the human reality at the heart of so many stories like his, and the desperate need for safe and humane routes for people seeking asylum." Reporting for QTV News, I am Jennifer Sonko.
The family of the late or ex-Angolan leader José Eduardo dos Santos have requested an autopsy over his death. The 79-year-old was in Spain for medical treatment and died after a cardiac arrest. Spain has approved autopsy for the ex-Angolan leader. More in this report.
A Barcelona court has authorized an autopsy on former Angolan president José Eduardo dos Santos, who died in the city on Friday after his family alleged a conspiracy to kill him. His daughter, Chise dos Santos, had requested the autopsy. saying political enemies did not want him to back the opposition in next month's Angolan elections. Had he done so, Dos Santos would have been backing them against the party to which he belonged for the whole of his adult life. Jose Santos clung onto power for 38 years and stepped down in 2017 to be succeeded by João Lourenço, who is from the same MPLA party. Although Dos Santos had handpicked the man known to Angolans as J-Lo to be his successor, Lourenço pursued a vigorous anti-corruption campaign, including against Dos Santos and his children. The ex-president's legacy was marred by claims of human rights violations and corruption. He amassed enormous wealth for his family while neglecting and ignoring the economical state and social needs of the population, many of whom dwell in abject poverty, living on less than $2 a day. In mid-2017, Dos Santos twice traveled to Barcelona in Spain on weeks-long visit that were rumored to be related to a medical problem. The government acknowledged that the first visit was related to his health, while giving no official explanation for his second visit. Dos Santos was praised for the major role he played in the country's independence struggle and his commitment to the promotion of peace and democracy in the country, through negotiations with opposition movements designed to put a definite end of the civil war. However, his regime is now seen as among the most corrupt in Africa. Jose Santos has 7 children and is twice divorced. Most well known among his children is his latest daughter, Isabel Dos Santos, who was once considered Africa's richest woman according to Forbes magazine, with a net worth exceeding $2 billion. She has been charged with mismanagement and embezzlement of public funds when she headed the state oil firm, Senegal. She manned other several companies. However, João Lourenço, the new Angolan president, fired her just 2 months after being sworn into office. Isabel and Jose Dos Santos have been exiled in Europe since their father stepped down. Dos Santos' son, Zeno, was jailed for 5 years for fraud after $500 million were transferred from the National Bank of Angola to an account in the UK. Lawyers for the Dos Santos family have denounced moves by the Angolan government to return the body there for a state funeral, against the ex-president's express wish to be buried privately in Spain. President Lourenço's desire to hold a state funeral for Dos Santos in Angola has faced fierce opposition, notably from Jose Dos Santos, the third daughter of Dos Santos and a former MP for the ruling MPLA. In an Instagram live over the weekend, Jose Dos Santos was categorical in saying that her father, in quote, should only be buried in Angola when João Lourenço is no longer president of the country, unquote. João Lourenço has said the offer of a state funeral is one befitting a former president of the country. Ajipinto Drame, QTV News.
Well, that's the end of QTV News tonight, and join us again at 10 for another bulletin.